Yo, welcome back to the channel. Man, I'm not gonna lie. I took a little break. I took a long break, as a matter of fact. Just had some responsibilities to handle, I'm sure you understand. But nevertheless, I'm trying to get back consistent. Remember, it's my first real attempt at being consistent at the YouTube shit. So I'm trying to be as consistent as possible while still handling my responsibilities. Uh, so today we are on a serious topic. Um, Adulthood became so expensive, and we're gonna talk about that. Let's talk about that. We're watching a video by CNBC. Uh, Without further ado, let's jump into it and see what's going on. Why adulthood became so expensive.
Give it another 20 years, and literally no young person will be able to afford to purchase a home, period.
It's a lot harder for young people today to save up for markers of the American dream than it was for previous generations.
Millennials' net worth quadrupled from $3.9 trillion to nearly $16 trillion between 2019 and 2024. But more than half report living paycheck to paycheck.
It's not the overspending, it's the cost of living.
Just thinking about all of the headwinds that a 30-year-old may have, like student loan debt and car loans and credit card debt, and then they have rising rent.
You have a lot of people 25 to 34 who are looking to start a family and cannot find a home.
We're actually projecting that about 1 in 4 young adults today will never have kids.
Those are people who help elect the president, who want stable jobs, who want rising wages, who want to be able to do things for their family that they don't feel they can do now.
We're living in two separate economies. The American dream that was pitched to the Gen Xers and the Boomers is no longer present in today's world.
Guys, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like the American dream is not possible in today's economy? Like, I know that shit is high, shit is expensive, so I feel that. But what I think is, I think there's still a way to go about it, right? I think it's still a way to go about it. I think things are high, but it could be worse, and it's still possible to do a lot of these things. For example, when we're looking at housing, when we're talking about housing, I own the house that I live in, but to get it, didn't go the traditional route, right? I bought my house in 2023, so interest rates was high at the time, I think around 7%. But instead of going to a bank, I opted to do seller finance, which is where you would work with the seller who owns their property free and clear, and you'd basically finance the property from them. And so that's an option as well. I think just a lot of people don't know about the options that you can, that you have and that you can utilize. A lot of people are just pitch, go to Zillow, get a realtor, and go to Chase or go to Bank of America and try to get a mortgage, and that usually is going to be the most expensive way. As far as everything else, car payments are high. We know that car payments are ridiculous. So the solution, get a cash car, man. The solution has always been get a cash car. If you can't get a $50,000 car, you don't want to have $1,000 car note, get a cash car. Save up $10,000. Save up $10,000. It sounds crazy. It sounds like a lot, I know, but it's possible if you stay down, you really lock in. Save up 10 grand, get you a cash car, and then as far as looking for housing, try to see what other options are out there besides taking a traditional mortgage.
Starter homes are disappearing from the United States. In the early 1980s, as many as 40% of the new homes built were considered entry-level. By 2023, just 9% fit the criteria.
Give it another 20 years, and
That's a huge drop, by the way. That's
literally
huge.
no young person will be able to afford to purchase a home, period.
Meanwhile, a slowdown is mounting in the home building industry, which could contribute to the ongoing decline of the starter home.
Both housing starts and building permits, which are
And no, look, I understand. You shouldn't have to even look at other options. I get it. I get it. It should be fair. You should be able to just go to your bank and get a mortgage. So I understand that. I understand that for sure. You shouldn't have to look at going directly to, because everybody wouldn't be able to do that because not every seller owns their property free and clear. So I'm just saying that there is options out there if that's really what you're looking to do. But I agree 100%. You shouldn't even have to do that in the first place.
an indicator of future construction have slowed down this fall, and it's not just seasonal.
There are over 3 million potential first-time homebuyers in the country. They're up against high home prices that keep rising.
What you're starting to see are mini price bubblets in markets.
Guys, I seen something crazy. Like, let me show you guys this. Now, I'm just gonna get away from that for 1 second. Let me show you guys this. This is crazy. Somebody showed me this the other day, and I was like, yo, this is ridiculous. So if you're looking for a regular home and you live in California, like you live in a market like San Diego, like, first of all, I bet 100% it's beautiful. But, dude, like, it's just ridiculous. If you're not rich, there's no point of even living over here. Like, standard homes, like, look at this. This is just a regular, look at this. This is not even updated. This is just a regular house. 1.7 million, 695. That's 1.7 million, almost $2 million just to live in San Diego. That's just insane. That's not even a crazy house. I mean, we're looking at stuff like this. This is, I mean, it looks new, right? This is a very nice home, beautiful home. But $3.2 million? I don't know about y'all, but when I was a kid and I thought of $1 million house, I was thinking of shit like this. like, bro, real talk. I was thinking of shit like this. Like, yo, this is $1 million house. This was a mansion. This shit is 108 million, guys. Let me show you what $1 million house looked like. This is $1 million house. Not 949. 9. What the fuck? Who lives here? Bro, what is this? Who lived here? Is that paper on the fridge? Oh my gosh. Bro, real life Barbie lived here. Bro, anyway, look at this shit. This is $1 million house. Do you guys not? They had it listed at 975 originally. This is $1 million house, guys, in San Diego. So this is insane, bro. That's a condo. Like, it's a condo. Literally, it's a condo, guys. Look at this. This is 800 grand. Holy shit. You don't even have a 2-car garage. Guys, it's under 1,300 square feet. Okay. But my point is, yeah, San Diego is ridiculous. And now if we're comparing it to, like, just so you guys understand, and I know this is not like where a place where, you would want to live. But just to compare that $1 million condo to this home here in Memphis, Tennessee. Like, this is how vastly different that is. These markets are. Look at this. This is a home in Memphis, Tennessee, which I know nobody wants to fucking live in Memphis, Tennessee. But I'm just showing an example of what you can get for, $374,000 in Memphis, Tennessee. And what you can get in San Diego for $375,000, which is basically nothing. You're probably just gonna get the dirt for $374,000. So that's how bad it is. So if you live in one of those markets, bro, it's time to go.
That are an hour, 2 to 3 hours from major metropolitan cities.
It is such an unusual market because we have an all-time low of first-time home buyers, but an all-time high of all cash buyers.
So where did all the starter homes go? A starter home is typically modest in size and price.
It's the most affordable home in any market. If you're in the Midwest, maybe it's in the $100,000 range. If you're in California, a starter home might be in the $400,000 range.
To me, a starter home used to
In California is great. I mean, it's beautiful. I've been to Cali one time, and it's beautiful. I would love to live in Cali. I actually wanted to live in Cali when I was younger, but way too expensive. And then the taxes, oh, don't even get me started on the taxes, bro.
be a
Just
smaller
doesn't make sense financially to live
There
out
was
there unless you're just fucking loaded.
space, and someone would upgrade maybe after 5 years as they get married or have a family and want to move. But now we're actually seeing that most people are buying their first home as a single family residence and really planning on staying in place.
America's home builders are making fewer of these kinds of units.
If you look at the number of single-family starter homes, those defined as being 1,400 square feet or smaller, we used to supply anywhere between 400 and 500,000 units a year.
Over the past decade, builders have put up less than 100,000 homes each year.
Oh my gosh, bro. That stat is disgusting, bro. I usually don't like looking at charts, but for some reason, like, this chart looks good, but it looks so bad, bro. What is this? From 400, almost 450,000 new homes, new starter homes a year down to 100,000.
Really, by far,
That's
the
bad,
number
bro.
one reason is the increasing difficulty that many builders have in dealing with zoning regulations.
Zoning laws are set at the local level. These laws can determine the size of each lot in a neighborhood. They can also specify how far a structure is set back from the property line, how tall it is, or how many units are on site. In many cases, these laws create an opportunity for local residents to challenge new development. The residents often raise concerns, like overcrowding of schools and wear and tear on local roads.
A lot of this has to do with density restrictions within local communities. They may not want a townhouse or a condo community coming in, but they absolutely will welcome a single family community.
Zoning codes are found all around the country. The most restrictive ones are often found in major cities.
Many builders are not leaving money on the table. They are just simply unable to build, or it's become so expensive to build that they can only build high-end single-family and high-end multifamily.
Given the high price,
I think that's the real issue, that it's so expensive to build. They can't really build anything cheap. Well, cheap to the consumer. So they have to really go above and beyond with their builds, or at least try to make it look like something fancy to get more, just because simply everything is so expensive, bro. So
price of land, labor, materials, it's very difficult for big home builders to build the entry-level homes. There are a couple who specialize, like D.R. Horton, which has an express homes division, which specializes in starter homes. But for medium-sized builders, it's just very expensive in order to pencil all the costs they have and make it affordable to that lower-end buyer.
that makes sense.
As a result, home builders and first-time buyers are targeting further flung locations.
Wait, bro, what? Bro, why is there garages? Do you guys see this? Look at these. The garages are backed by water, bro. What are you doing? Are you pulling your boat from the fucking canal into your driveway, bro? What the hell? It's crazy.
We've
Where is that?
seen a trend toward purchasing a home further from the urban core. So you do see a lot of new construction in suburbia and exurbia.
Home values are now rising most rapidly in low density and rural areas. Experts say that relaxing these codes could lead to higher levels of home building and preserve affordability.
For example, in San Antonio, there's some builders that are building sub 1,000 square feet single-family detached homes, right? Which would have been almost unthinkable just a few years ago. So the market is reacting, but its response mechanism is really limited because of the rules of the game.
Some areas with less restrictive zoning codes are welcoming many newcomers. For an example,
Atlanta. Now, if you don't know, I live in Atlanta, so I know Atlanta, and I'm in the real estate industry, so I know Atlanta market. So let's see what they got to say about Atlanta.
see Metro Atlanta.
Home is in Atlanta now. I'm currently in Decatur, Georgia, which is right outside of the perimeter, so I have easy.
Now, during COVID, during the pandemic years, Decatur was one of those cities that was on the rise, where a lot of investors were flipping, and you could say gentrifying that area because it was rough at one point, and now it's like real nice. They put in real nice homes. They do a lot of renovations in Decatur, so that was a highly sought out area during COVID. I think right now it kind of simmered out just a little bit, but it was definitely hot during COVID.
Access to the city. It gives a little bit more of suburban-ish kind of feel. It's just the culture, the energy, the aesthetic, the environments, a more elevated experience in day-to-day living, honestly.
She's boosting. Hey, she's boosting, bro. That one city that she just told you in Decatur right there, that little, let me go back to it. This little town that she just showed you in Decatur, this is the only part of Decatur that looks good like this. That feels like suburban or elevated, bro. Don't let her fool you, bro. That's not a good representation of Decatur, but that is a good part of Decatur, though.
Sure, the energy, the
I do like hanging
aesthetic,
out
the
there, though.
environments, a more
Like I said, it's on the come up. They're doing more and more every day.
elevated experience in day-to-day living, honestly.
Lillian Mantaya is a filmmaker and entrepreneur. She was in line to buy a home in the Baltimore area in 2024, but that plan fell through. Since then, she's moved to Atlanta to live with her sister and come up with a new plan.
I did grow up in Baltimore. I gave Baltimore a shot in my adulthood with my children, and I did the 9 to 5 and, attempted to buy a house there and everything. But Baltimore wasn't providing just the lifestyle, resources, community that is needed for me to thrive. And Atlanta has been able to kind of just support me more.
Experts say that more dense forms of housing could have helped first-time buyers, particularly in crowded areas.
We do know that local communities are trying to address the lack of housing inventory in pretty unique ways. So accessory dwelling units is certainly a popular approach right now. That's one solution, but I think we need to be looking at adaptive reuse as well. So looking at vacant hotel motels, looking at vacant residential malls.
Oh, this is cool. See, I like when they do stuff like this. Like when they turn like a building into like, what's those things, like those cafeterias where it's like a bunch of different food spots, you could just choose one, or shit like this. Like they need to do more of this. I'm on board with this. This is cool.
And how do we bring residential housing units into those areas?
Oh, that'll be sick, bro. Like I like stuff like this. The problem is when they do do things like this, it's usually expensive. Like this is like not gonna be cheap. If you do this if they do it in Atlanta and they have like some units like this above like a shopping, retail or whatever kind of thing, they utilize one of these old buildings for something like that, it's not gonna be cheap. I'm telling you right now, that place is going to be $2,800 a month, $3,200 a month. Like it's gonna be ridiculous. And they're gonna, because you got retail around below, and it's I don't know what's the word to describe this kind of like lifestyle living, but they're gonna sell it to you. They're not gonna give it to you for cheap. No.
Much of the new construction since 2020 is in luxury apartments.
This is true. You see this? All this building that's going on in Atlanta, like with these cranes and shit, like that's going on. Like every time I go to the city, there's fucking cranes in the sky. They're building more luxury apartments, and I always ask myself, bro, who's living here, bro? These luxury apartments are not cheap. So they're building a lot of them, bro. Who's coming in and renting these apartments.
Units that are not for sale.
The recent boom in multifamily construction has been on the higher luxury end, but it's easier for multifamily developers to get in and pencil that many apartments because they're renting them, and rents have been very high.
Finances are a big barrier for first-time buyers. The premium paid to buy a home has increased sharply relative to renting over the past decade. The increases in home prices have also outpaced increases in wages. As a result, home sales are down across many markets, and the median age of the typical first-time home buyer has climbed to 38. That's up.
Whoa. Now that's ridiculous. 38 to be buying your first home, that's ridiculous. You know, I think 29 is fair. 38 is ridiculous. Come on, man. Nobody wants to be. And here's the thing. People say, oh, right now, currently renting is cheaper than owning a home. I get that. You know, your monthly, you don't have maintenance, right? Like I said, I own my home and there's things that I have to fix. I get that. But there's something about knowing that one day, you won't have to pay to live here. Of course, you're going to have to pay taxes and keep your utilities on, but you wouldn't have to pay a payment just to live here. Nobody will be able to kick you out or, you know, take your house or anything like that from you. And that's the problem with renting. Like, and no matter what, when you rent, when you renew your lease is going to constantly go up. Rents are going to constantly go up, and that you're always in this vulnerable position. So no one can ever tell me like, hey, you know, you should rent over buying. You should rent over buying. Listen, my whole life, my family has been renting. My mom has been renting my whole entire life, and the lease always went up. The rents always went up, and we always had to move and find somewhere else. We moved a lot, and when you're doing that, and you got kids, couple different things happen. Like, for example, your friends, the school that you go to changes a lot, right? We change schools a lot. Because there wasn't always homes available in the same district. So I went to 3 different middle schools. I went to one high school because we stayed in that rental for a while. But we did move while I was in high school. We just we moved from the house we moved literally behind the house that we was living in before. So I moved twice while I was in high school. But listen, nobody wants to be moving all the time, bro. We want to build a foundation, want a solid foundation. And renting is just not better than buying, bro, at all.
From age 29 in 1981.
Just thinking about all of the headwinds that a 30-year-old may have, like student loan debt and car loans and credit card debt, and then they have rising rent. And so keeping that all in mind, it's hard to save for a down payment when housing affordability is really out of reach.
That too,
The
bro.
problem is you have the most demand on the low end of the market because affordability is so rough right now, but you also have the least supply on the low end of the market.
The average price of homes has increased rapidly too. Nationwide, home prices have climbed over 52% between January 2020 and October 2024. Adding to the burden, mortgage rates have returned to their standard historical range, near 7%. Homeowners with a mortgage are paying 29% more than they would if they rented the same house.
Wow.
Dynamics like that are shutting out all but the highest income Americans out of the market, at least on average.
We're seeing first-time home buyers come into the market using inheritance, using 401k or stocks, cashing those out, combining all of these resources, and actually making an all-cash purchase.
Investors are buying homes too, but economists saw their shares jump to an all-time high in 2024. Still, they make up a tiny fraction of the overall housing stock.
The issue of large-scale investors is really not an issue. If you look at their share of the market, it's only 1% to 2%. However, if you look within fast-growing markets, particularly those that are affordable, and in the South, those entities are making it a little bit more difficult for buyers to purchase. Having said all that, if there was a normal amount of supply and we didn't have the shortage, this would not be really an issue.
With elevated prices on the market, today's buyers may need to rely on outside help to finance a home.
I think it's increasingly difficult to buy that first home if you don't have help. You know, in a more affordable market, it's $400,000. That means you have to come up with $80,000 in down payment if you assume the typical conventional loan. That's really...
Guys, I mean, in a more affordable market, to be fair, Atlanta used to be cheaper, but let me show you what you can probably get in Atlanta. Um, starter home wise. Um, and well, actually, let's not look in. Well, we can look in the city. There's still some decent stuff out here, right? It's not everything's not half a million. For example, this is in Atlanta. I mean, it doesn't have a garage, but it's newly renovated. This is 260,000. This is 3.2. I wouldn't live there. This I would live. This is nice. Um, this is in Atlanta, 329. 3.2, 1,100 square feet. This is nice. I count this as like a starter home. It's not too big. It's chill. Um, but yeah, everything's not 400,000. I think when you look at averages, yeah, sure. But if you actually get into the markets and look at houses individually, you can see that there's some options out here. Like for example, this right here is a 2,100 square feet, 275. It's a bit dated, but I mean, look at this. You can have a big family here for under 300,000. You have a two-car garage. You're in Atlanta, and then if you go over to some of the suburbs of Atlanta, like remove the boundaries here, and let's look at some of the suburbs of Atlanta. Like let's look at Snellville. If we come out here to Lawrenceville, and Lawrenceville's a good area too. Lawrenceville's a great area. You this one's a kind of a fixer, but Lawrenceville, Snellville is a great area, great school district, and yeah, I mean, look, Grayson, Georgia's a great area. You can get in here for 290,000. See what I mean? So, I mean, you have to really dig in and look at these markets individually, and then, that's how you determine like what I'm trying to say is everything is not $500,000. Yeah. This video is 35 minutes long, so we're not going to watch the whole video, but I do want to get into the comments and see what some people are saying about this. So right here, not the first time in history this happened, Lord and peasants. It's called the American Dream because you have to be asleep to believe it. See, a lot of these people are like, they're going to read the headlines and read the stats and things like that, and they're going to be like, wow, it's too much for it. Like I said, there's options out there. It shouldn't be this way. But if buying a house and you're really serious about it, maybe start thinking of some out-of-the-box ways to get into a property. Seller finance, subject to some of the creative ways you can get into properties, and ask your realtor. When you get an agent and you're looking for housing, ask your agent, hey, these are the options that I'm looking for. I'm looking to see if I can get a property on seller finance. I'm looking to see if I can get a property on subject to, and see what they can find out there for you, and you'll be surprised at what they'll be able to pull out of the hat for you. Thank you guys for tuning into another video. I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know what time. I'm probably gonna drop around the same time, but I will be back tomorrow. We out.